Hi everyone, so I'm Kira. I am going to be presenting you the information about the Board of Directors for GoggleWorks Center for the Arts. So I'm going to go over the executives that are leading the organization as well as some other members of the board, but I am unfortunately unable to cover all of them because my last video was 24 minutes long, and the total video is supposed to be only 10 to 15 minutes long. So I am going to cut it down a little bit, but I've done the research on all of them. I'll try and get to the end, but I'm not going to read all of their accomplishments. I'm just going to read some. And I will also let you know what qualities they have that have allowed them to earn a spot on the GoggleWorks Board of Directors. All right, so let's get started. We have 4 main executive board members for the GoggleWorks Center for the Arts, and we have about 25 to 30 regular board of directors. So like I said, because there are so many, I'm not going to be reading all of their accreditations. I'm just going to be reading some of the things that they accomplished before earning their job at GoggleWorks. So the main chairman, is Gus Zokis. He is a Korean War veteran. He's a teacher in the Reading Area School District, and he played a really instrumental role in restructuring the Reading Area Community College back in the day. He has qualities of civility, qualities of humor, honor, leadership, and commitment to the well-being of others, which matches the goal of GoggleWorks, and which is why Gus Zokis was elected chairman of the nonprofit. So the next one is the vice chair, Mr. Todd Allman. He is the owner of a local butchery, and he named it as a tribute to the roots of butchering and Pennsylvania Dutch traditions. He named it Dunder and Heister, which, like I said, pays homage to the roots. He spent close to $3 million purchasing products from local farms, so he supports local small businesses. And his business has inspired many people to choose cruelty-free organic meat and to know where their food is coming from, which really promotes a healthy lifestyle in his community. So Todd's work at his butchery led him to a position as the vice chair of GoggleWorks, where he shares and promotes the arts of butchering, gardening, and cooking. And he also has experience running a business, which could be an asset to, running a nonprofit organization. So let's move on. Next is Ralia Vardaxis. She is the secretary for GoggleWorks Center of the Arts. And she was named the assistant vice president for alumni and donor engagement at the Albright College, and she also served as a leadership gifts officer there. She served in leadership roles at the Reading Symphony Orchestra and Wachovia Bank in the areas of development, marketing, and community relations, and that is really what GoggleWorks seemed to value her for. She's on the board for GoggleWorks because of her talent in multiple areas of expertise, such as development, marketing, and community relations. That's a really good thing to have for a nonprofit. So next, we are going to talk about William G. Koch Sr. He's the treasurer for GoggleWorks. He's the founder and CEO of William G. Koch and Associates. He serves clients with income tax matters, financial planning, auditing and accounting, and consulting services. He's a co-author, and he has over 53 years of public accounting experience. He's a developer and manager of the Westview Office condominium in Wyomissing, and he was an employee for numerous organizations, including the Berks Arts Council and the Junior League of Reading. He is on the board of directors because of his experience in finance, quite basically. That's really something they need to lock down, being a nonprofit. So that wraps it up for the executives on the board. There are many people on the board of directors, but there are only 4 executives. So now we're going to talk about a few of the people, and this is where I'm going to kind of skip some stuff. but we're going to talk about some of the people on the board of directors so that you can get an idea of the kind of qualities and kind of experience that they had before getting involved in the GoggleWorks organization. So next we're going to talk about Pamela Barbie. She was a philanthropist with a professional background in fundraising. She's a trustee of a charitable trust. She recently chaired a $10 million fundraising campaign for the United Way at Berks County, and she holds an MBA from Arizona State University. She was chosen to be on the GoggleWorks board of directors because of her success in fundraising and finance, as well as her experience in directing and managing that proved to be very valuable for them. And next is Cynthia Boskov. She worked as a substitute teacher at the school where her daughter went right before she turned her attention to volunteerism, which was kind of lending her name and talents to various Reading nonprofits. She kind of volunteered everywhere. She was a GoggleWorks board chairman. Actually, no, she wasn't. She was complimented by the GoggleWorks board chairman, Gus Zogas. He basically attributed the organization's success to Cynthia because of her roll up her sleeves volunteerism. And it's easy to see why GoggleWorks had Cynthia on the board. She really put in a lot of hard work for the organization, and she even improved situations there. Her diligence is one of the characteristics which made her a perfect candidate for a position on the board. So next is Alyssa Carlino. Alyssa is a donor to the Wyomissing Area of Education Foundation. She led the painting of this huge mural in West Reading in honor of a muralist that she wanted to honor. His name is Mike Miller, and she basically led a painting of this huge exhibit in the city by 15 of his students as a 50th birthday gift. This shows her knowledge of leadership, art, organization, and planning, which are really valuable qualities for her position at GoggleWorks. Next, we are going to talk about Irvin Cohen. Irvin and his wife gave their time and treasure to organizations that help children in Reading. They're particularly fond of the Opportunity House, which they've been involved in for years. Irvin started his metal stamping business in 1950, and he eventually became a successful one. And he bought out the other co-owner and reigned full control of the company. Irvin's service to the community philanthropically, as well as his service to the city of Reading and educating its youth, are reasons why GoggleWorks believed Irvin Cohen to be the best fit for the board of directors. So now we're going to talk about Paul Kahn. He served as Senior Vice President at Claremont Wealth Strategies, Relationship Manager with Chovia Wealth Management, Chairman at the Reading Area Community College, and President for GoggleWorks Center for the Arts. I believe it's somebody else now. He obtained degrees from Drexel and NYU Stern School of Business, and his expertise and extensive resume of experience made him a perfect candidate to be on the member of the board at GoggleWorks Center for the Arts. So next we will talk about Gary Connor. He was the Executive Vice President and CFO at South Coast Health System in New Bedford, Massachusetts. He served as CFO at Duarte, California-based City of Hope Cancer Center, in addition to various senior level positions at the Hospital Corporation of America and at the Catholic Healthcare West, which is now known as Dignity Health, and recently appointed CFO at the Reading Health Center. He is on the GoggleWorks board of directors because of his service to the community in advancing the medical field and running operations on higher positions at healthcare organizations. He's really valuable for his resource of expertise in the medical field, and his executive positions bring success for the industry. So next up is Suzanne Fellows. She's an artist who works in printmaking, painting, drawing, book arts, and digital surface pattern design. She's been recently teaching at colleges, galleries, and art centers for 18 years. She received her BFA in communication design from Kutztown, and she has an MFA in fine art from Vermont College of the Arts. She is of value to the GoggleWorks Arts Organization because of her knowledge and passion for a variety of arts and hobbies, and she teaches classes at the center as well. Next is Denna Hamill. She is a Penn State alumni and she committed $100,000 with her husband to create their own trustee scholarship to support Penn State Berks, at the scholarship level. The scholarship is just one of the many ways that people like Denna are creating educational opportunities for children and students who are facing financial challenges all across the globe even. And her continuous and generous support of Penn State students furthering their education earned her a spot on the board of GoggleWorks. Okay, next up is somebody that is actually very familiar to us, hopefully. It's Miss Anne Marie Hayes Hawkinson, the president's wife. And she served as a museum educator for 24 years, as well as a university gallery coordinator. She's studying intaglio with Professor Evan Summer at Kutztown University. She's a member of the Printmaker Society of the Lehigh Valley and the Southern Graphics Council. And because of her artistic contribution to Berks County, Anne is a perfect person to serve on the board for GoggleWorks. Next is Thomas McMahon. This is the mayor of Reading. He won the post of Reading mayor in 2003, and then he won a second term 4 years later, so people generally really liked him. He helped found the Reading-based NTech Engineering in 1980, and he had a lot of other distinctions, especially the mentors for Berks youth. And because of his contribution to the youth in his community, as well as to the city of Reading in general, the mayor, Tom McMahon, got his spot on the board of directors at GoggleWorks Center of the Arts. So next is Marlon Miller Jr. He serves as a member of the board of directors at Connors Investor Services. He spent 3 years as vice president. He's a co-founder of several organizations, including Aero International, where he served as chief executive officer. He joined the Glengarry Corporation, where he served as executive vice president. He serves as the chairman at Emeritus of Aero International, and he's been the director of several technology corporations, finance corporations, and hospitals. He served as a trustee of Alfred University. And next is Franz Parzanese. He was a retired public school teacher, and he is an artist taught by a Chinese painter. He does a lot of work in watercolor, acrylics, oils, commissions for house portraits or special subjects. He also teaches watercolor workshops and classes for GoggleWorks, which is why they found him super valuable. Due to Franz's artistic talent, he plays a role on the board of GoggleWorks Center for the Arts. Next up is Quality Quinn. She is an author and as well as an international literacy consultant. She's an educational aggregator, and her company serves school districts, state departments of education, foundations, educational publishers, and high-tech companies. Quality Quinn's dedication to the youth education in the community, as well as her literary and academic success, has earned her a spot on the board of GoggleWorks. Next up is Dale Ritchie. She's an executive director of the Berks Youth Chorus, and she's a voice teacher at the Community Music School. She performs with many groups including Opus One, Berks Chamber Choir, and its Select Ensemble. And her devotion to her craft and will to inspire others has landed her a spot on the board of GoggleWorks. Next is Paul Rodell. He worked his way up from accountant to chairman and CEO during his 44-year career with Carpenter Technology Corporation. He was a specialty steel and alloy maker, and he retired in 1992. And he volunteered at nearly a dozen organizations in the community. And those organizations include the Boy Scouts of America, the Hispanic Center, Children's Home of Reading, Why I'm Missing Foundation, and GoggleWorks. His activism and volunteerism and helpfulness in bettering his community are characteristics that GoggleWorks saw value in and played a part in selecting him for a role on the board of directors. Next up is Patricia Ciano. She is a working photographer in the Reading area, and that's pretty much all we know about her. She really doesn't pop up when you search her name on Google. But we do know that she teaches classes at GoggleWorks for photography. And it's because of that they chose to put her on the board of directors. She used her own special technique where she basically mastered the technique of using light in pictures and altering the photos. So now we will move on to Crystal Seitz. She works in the field of tourism development related to arts. Her official position is the president of Pennsylvania's Americana region. She works at the American Red Cross and MedEd First Energy, and she has a fine arts degree from Kutztown University. And it is because of her experience and her high positions at local companies which earned Crystal her seat on the GoggleWorks board of directors. Next is Sandy Solomon. She is the owner and founder of a local dessert company called Sweet Treats. Her company opened up 80 new jobs for aspiring culinary artists in the area, and Sandy's knowledge of the art of desserts and baking, as well as her generosity and helpfulness in trying to inspire young culinary artists, allowed her to serve on the GoggleWorks board of directors. Barbara Thun is a artist who has exhibited her work at the Friedman Gallery of Albright College, Lehigh University, Muhlenberg College, Delaware Center for the Arts, Allentown Museum, Penn State Museum, Reading Public Museum, Yoakum Institute of the Arts, Reading Jewish Center, the Hill School, Fleischer Memorial Drawing Center in Philadelphia, and GoggleWorks Center for the Arts. She is an expert in her field and has had her art featured all over the area, which GoggleWorks saw valuable and chose to select her for a board member position. Lastly is Jay Wagner, and he is the co-chair of Stevens and Lee's Estates and Trust Practice Group. He concentrates his practice in estate and trust planning and administration, wealth preservation, trust and estate litigation, charitable and nonprofit organizations, and guardianship administration. He's super experienced in his field, and he has a lot of practice at what he does. He has a lot of knowledge of legal trusts, nonprofit organizations, and he knows how to run a successful business, which makes him the perfect consultant for GoggleWorks Center for the Arts, and his position on the board basically guarantees success for the organization. So that basically wraps up our discussion on the GoggleWorks Center for the Arts and their board of directors.